Yes, it is.
I mean, listen, we set our new time. We do what we want to do. How you gonna drink before you told? That's bad luck.
If,
But looking in the mirror is bad luck, and you do that every day too.
do you have a mirror big enough to? What's going on, everybody? It's your girl Shannon,
It's your man Terance J.
and this is
The Last Podcast.
And why is this the last podcast, Fat Boy?
Well, depending on what we say or what we do, this could quite possibly be the last podcast. So, man, we're so glad that you guys are back here with us. It's my apologies. I want to give this before the show start. I have the camera sitting a little closer so you can see Shannon a little better. So that might not be good for the ratings or the views, but bear with us.
But they can see my print shirt.
I mean, it's pretty big. Everybody can see your print shirt. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Listen, let me tell you something.
You got them titties on lean today.
Let me tell you something.
Let's get to the show. I'm not going to kiki with you all night, man. We got things to talk about.
We do. Thank you guys again for being here. This is the last podcast. Make sure to do us a favor. We're going to tell you this multiple times throughout the show.
Yes.
So if you have not done it, do it right now. Share it, okay? Make sure you like and comment on this post, all right? So, with that being said, man, we will get into the show. I'd like to give a big shout out to Deep Ellum Distillery. You see the bottles right here on the tables. Our winners for the last show, two of those bottles were
Jared and
Shan. Yeah. So they won the bottles last week, so we'll be getting them to you guys as soon as possible, and we will continue to do the giveaways right here on the last podcast. What other show can you get free liquor?
Free
Listen,
vodka.
if you don't watch for that, I don't know what it is.
I only come here for the free vodka anyway.
Yeah, and you can see she is a lush. Because matter of fact, speaking of, you know what? Nope, we're not gonna say that.
What you about to say?
Nope, not gonna say it.
What you about to say?
Develop.
Okay.
Make sure to follow us, okay? Follow us on Facebook at The Last Podcast 1. And on Instagram is _ The Last Podcast. We had some technical difficulties trying to get Instagram up. It would not work, so we had to scrap that. Goes back to the basics on Facebook. So we're right here live with you guys.
Yeah.
So, the disclaimer.
Our disclaimer. We will still be friends after the show, no matter what is said, no matter
what's done.
you know, let me.
Yeah, keep going.
No matter what is done.
It's been a minute.
He keep giving me shit because we took off last week, so he missed me clearly.
No, obviously I didn't.
I'm sorry I forgot the boob tape for you, but it's okay.
Really? Okay. All right. You starting early, huh?
Anyway, so no matter what is said, no matter what is done, we will still be friends after the show. Honestly, this is the tamed version of us. You should hear us when there's no one around.
Ooh-wee.
And we talk about all sorts of topics.
Yeah, and things
people.
and people, because I almost sent her something. Oh, God. You know what? Please forgive me, Lord. Let's just leave it at that. Listen, we see stuff on Facebook. Sometimes it's y'all. And things go back and forth through the inbox message. And I stopped and paused and thank God for discernment. Because I was about to send
Thank God that you listened this time.
Yeah, because I was about to send something to him and be like, look at it. So glad I didn't. I would have been going straight to hell, okay?
I mean, you're already there. But
Listen, I ain't going to say that I bought my whole ticket.
I mean, you're going on a scholarship full ride. It is what it is.
Guess who's going to be there with me?
Not me.
So,
the unofficial, official disclaimer.
Yes.
If you are offended by fat shaming.
Or any shaming.
If you are easily offended by anything. This is probably not the show for you.
Nope.
But
not at all.
Here's what I want you to do.
All right.
Walk away. Keep the show going. Share this to the people who aren't easily offended. Do not close this. Just go watch, I don't know, Wheel of Fortune or something.
But make sure you share this.
Make sure you share this.
Yeah. So, and matter of fact, do us a favor. I see this done on somebody else's podcast. I'm going to steal an idea. If you have shared this video, write in the comment section, shared, okay? So share or share, just write in there, let us know that you are rocking with us. That's how we keep up with, man, who rocks with this show. Yeah. And we are speaking of rocking with this show, we are coming up on our 1 year anniversary. So we are planning something where we can get with you guys. You know, outdoors is open again. They charging giraffe booty prices for outdoors right now, but it's open. All right. So we're gonna try to have something so you guys can come out. And so now if we plan this, now I told you I was coming out to y'all before, but if we plan this, and there's about, let's say there's 12 that we can rattle off names that don't show up.
That's your ass, Mr. Postman.
Yeah.
That's you.
For real. So, with that being said, thank you guys for rocking with us for the year. But that's coming up July 15th. So, and ironically, I think
the anniversary's coming up.
The anniversary's coming up on the 15th.
The event is not.
Not the event.
Okay.
Yeah. So, this is the last podcast that we said before. So we usually have a lot of great topics for you during our weekly rundown. Listen, we've been off and we've been chilling over the last couple of weeks. I told y'all before we got off the air on the last show, we had to cancel a whole show because Shannon had to eat, and that is a whole ordeal.
Yes.
Okay.
So let me explain this, since we only have one weekly rundown point.
Let you explain.
Let me explain this. I went with my good friend Crystal. Shout out to Crystal Jefferson, my good boo boo. We went and did the dining in the dark, where you're blindfolded. So because we really eat with our eyes. So you're blindfolded. So your other senses are heightened, and it's a very unique experience. I would implore anybody who has some money to buy a ticket and to go.
Damn. Everybody got some money.
Well, everybody got their PPP and food stamps and stuff now.
Wow.
So you can, who can't afford it? I mean, I didn't get
no PPP.
I didn't get no food.
Do you know, if you look up people's name, not on that website, but just type in random people's name, if they have a PPP, it turns up #1 on Google now? Yo.
Well, how about this? How about I type my name and pray real hard and press send, because I want my name to be in that number.
No, you don't, because it's another number that's coming. And that's prison time. They ain't gonna give you the football numbers. They gonna give you the football numbers on that. So
anyways, let me finish my story.
Sorry.
Anyway, it was a really great, unique experience. It's very interesting to eat blindfolded and to think that you're eating one thing and it turns out you're eating something totally different, because you think by the texture and everything. I, for sure, and I still say no, I was eating sausage. It was not sausage. It was so weird that he would give sausage with mashed potatoes, but it was chicken. But it's the way he prepared the chicken to make the brain think that you were eating something other than chicken. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said it. It's fine.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna switch up the menu. Okay.
They are. They're gonna switch up the menu this fall. So don't go into this fall. But it was a very, very fun and unique experience. Again, thank you so much to my friend Crystal, and thank you guys for allowing me to take a week off.
Yo, okay, Jared, don't make us put you in this chair, okay? The man say Shannon is glowing and so is my forehead.
Your forehead is.
Yo, Jerry gonna be part of the jokes. Okay. Hey man, listen. Damn, that was a good one, though. All right, let me.
Randy said, "Stop talking about his man teeth." Everybody's part of the jokes tonight.
I see.
Okay.
Y'all with the shits. I will go down one by one and look up your Facebook page. All right, this is what I do. This is what I do. So, but anyway, so the weekly rundown. So the only one we have on the weekly rundown this week is Juneteenth has now become a federal holiday, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people have been pushing for this. Matter of fact, there is a lady right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex named Miss Opal. I've had the pleasure of speaking with Miss Opal. Miss Opal is in her 90s, and she set out to walk across the country all the way to D.C. to get this as a federal holiday, because she believed that this was such an important day in history, because no one is free until everyone is free. And so that's why Juneteenth was celebrated. And it was announced from an actual house right in Galveston, Texas. And it was the first time that the slaves in Texas got a chance to find out that the Emancipation Proclamation, had been signed and put into effect, and so that they were now free. So we were the last slaves in the Union to know that we were free.
It hit Galveston first.
Yeah.
Because the shores and everything. Anyway, so I have I'm a little on the fence about this, because
it's a wrought iron fence. It's showing the chain link.
What? just zip it.
That's a strong fence. Was that the border wall Trump building?
That border wall just
top your ass with a regular fence. It's coming down. Okay.
So I am on the fence about this. In theory, this is great. Maybe it's great. Some people don't feel like celebrating Juneteenth is something. Some people feel like celebrating Juneteenth. Some people feel like Juneteenth isn't something to be celebrated. Okay. because it's like we're celebrating ignorance. But is it really our ignorance, or is it? Is I mean, but that's neither here nor there. I just have to throw that out there. I would be more happy if we were able to have a curriculum for race theory, critical race theory, or critical whatever, um, in our schools, in our textbooks, for it to be added into our everyday curriculum so that we can learn more than just about Juneteenth.
Hmm.
Now, I get it. Juneteenth is something that Black people in Texas have celebrated for years. We celebrated a couple of times in my life, more than a couple, but I need more, and I'm not afraid to say I need more, and I'm unapologetic about needing more. I need more than just, and I'm not discounting the work that was put in to make this a federal holiday.
Hmm.
What I'm saying is, do more for across the board when it comes to education, when it comes to awareness of what we really went through.
Okay.
So kudos to Juneteenth, but I need more.
Okay. So the thing is that I understand you saying you're needing more, but we have to take a step.
We do have to
right?
take a step.
To be able to have this recognized as a federal holiday is putting on a map that think about it. It's the first thing of slavery and the emancipation of the black slaves that has been recognized by the federal government.
Well, Memorial Day.
Well, Memorial Day, but Memorial Day in the way that it's celebrated
It's
is
for
not
white
a
people.
tribute for
Slaves.
slaves, right?
Hmm.
So the thing is that this is the first holiday that we can get that's saying, okay, this is something that happened in this country.
I completely agree.
To be able to even get the initiative to have the curriculum in the school, you must first have it acknowledged by the federal
I completely
government,
agree.
right? So with that being said, I really want to say, when people say, "Hey, it's celebrated ignorance," okay, first of all, let's be real. There was no internet back then, all right? So so everything had to go snail mail, right?
And let's just say the white slave owners knew. The
Hmm.
slaves didn't know.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The slaves didn't know. So the owners knew.
Yeah, I mean, and so
How shady is that though?
oh, shit, I mean, they enslaved.
It's the American way, but
I mean, they had people actual enslaved, so everything they did was shady. But the thing is that I believe that this is a great step for us to have it because it started in Texas, not everywhere around the country even know what Juneteenth
no,
is.
I remember we had, I forgot, my freshman, she was a basketball coach. Our freshman uh history teacher. I can't
Mhm.
remember her name, but she was a tall basketball coach upstairs in Kimball. Um,
Mhm.
I was in the class with Kristen Newsom. But anyway, she was from up north, and she had never heard of Juneteenth until she moved to Texas. And there are a lot of people who has never heard of Juneteenth until
Mhm.
they came to Texas, or they knew someone from Texas, and they're like, Juneteenth, why? And then so when you tell them what happened, they're like, well, that's the stupidest thing to celebrate, don't you think? But I mean, but it's still a celebration of freedom. Don't get me wrong. On Juneteenth, I will be wearing my Juneteenth is my Independence Day shirt that my baby made me. Shout out to Scooter. But I'm just saying, and I get completely what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, let's make sure that we don't, because we have a tendency to say, okay, they gave us this.
Okay, so with that being said, again, I told y'all, Miss Opal is 92, I want to say. So this lady
So she
has
was back then
dedicated.
when they
She was. Well, no, she wasn't back
she was
with me.
back then when she heard it.
But the thing is, we can't rely on a 90-year-old woman to keep this baton going for very much longer.
Right.
So if we want to progress off of this, then now it's up to us to be able to keep pushing this narrative, to be able to say, okay, yeah, okay, so we got this. Now we need more. Now we need branches off of this tree. So
They turn your ass up in the
are they really? Oh, listen, I promise y'all, I'm trying to be professional. I will go through.
Okay,
this
so let's get
conversation.
started.
All right.
Okay, so we don't have any more.
No, that's the only weekly rundown we
Yeah.
have. So shout out to black people. So Um, the last podcast, man.
So
Last week,
the
you
week
know,
before last,
the week before
last
last, our
show.
last show, previously on the last show, we did Black Boy Burton,
Hmm.
right? And so Black Boy Burton was just a few of the things that as black boys growing up, we have to kind of
Continue it.
contend with,
Hmm.
deal with. And so we wanted to shine light on the girls this week to show that hey, there are some things that they have to deal with and things we've talked about within our collective groups
Hmm.
that we wanted to highlight. So here's just a few of them that we wanted to highlight, and the black girl burden and the things that young ladies and young girls are having to grow up with. All right. So with that being said, there and I know there are plenty more, and if you got more, please put them in the comment
Yes,
section
please.
because we would love to be able to discuss those also. But like I said, we wanted to pick three for the sake of time to be able to talk about this. All right, so let's get into the first one.
Okay, the first one is, and I talk about this strongly all the time, the push to be independent. So I was a black girl. Hush.
Was operative word. All right.
Now I'm a black woman. Okay. So I was a black girl growing up
Loosely.
in a home with two brothers, and I was raised very differently from my brothers. I'm not taking anything away from my mother. She did a great job with me. I'm kidding. She did a great job with some of them other people, um, but there was a very different way that there were different expectations for me as a black female child than it was as a for the black male child. And I think we see this a lot in single mother homes.
Mhm.
Okay, the son is coddled. The son is almost pampered to a point. In stark contrast, the black girl is you have to. She's pushed out to be independent. There is no coddle time. There is no pamper time. You are, it's drilled into you that you have to do this. You have to be successful. You have to get good grades. You have to it's almost like there's a part of us that's not even a part of us that's not even cultivated correctly because we are so it's like we're thrown into the independent mode so quickly, and there is no excuses. You can't have an excuse as to you can't get tired. You're a black woman, or you're gonna be a black woman, and this is what is expected of you because you know you're a black woman in America. You got to get your education. You have to go and work. You can't do that. You got to make sure that you take care of all your responsibilities, and if you miss one responsibility, then there's a whole issue. And I say this all the time, and no disrespect to my mother, but I remember vividly not being able to go outside and play with the rest of the kids because I had to stay inside and read. Or Shannon, you didn't read a book this week. What book are you reading? I had to stay inside and watch the Anita Hill trials. No lie, I had to stay inside and watch Nelson Mandela get released from prison. Now, we all around the same age. Do y'all remember these events?
I remember the Anita Hill trial. I didn't watch it.
Oh,
I don't remember Nelson Mandela getting
Oh.
released from.
I had to, and I had to sit and conversely speak. Now, my mama was she's kind of militant, whatever, and I feel like I got that from her. But I was expected. I was the child that was expected to get the good grades, to be the cream of the crop of our little family, and my cousin Tiffany was the same. She had one brother. And try to talk about family business, but it is what it is. And when I speak to other black women now, and I question them about their upbringing, it's the same thing. It's independence is almost shoved down our throats with no room to breathe, no room to come up for air. It is you this there is no other way. And I will say that in a way, it makes us the cream of the crop. That's why the by was it by population, by demographics, black women are the most educated group by demographics, right? Probably because our mamas didn't allow us to do anything else but get educated, and they push that. But now we have this very unique situation where we have these boys in these homes who have been coddled, who have really become the house pimp,
Hmm.
and they have this mindset of superiority because they've never had to really step up to the plate and be as independent as the young girls. Then you have these young girls who are out here who they've been so staunchly independent from from a young age to now. So now there's this clash because you have these men who say, okay, well, y'all act like y'all so independent, y'all don't need a man, but we're like we we didn't learn anything else but to be independent.
Hmm.
So now we have this conflict, this great conflict among black women and black men. But not don't get on here and say, "Well, that's not how I was raised." Okay, I'm not talking to you then. I'm talking to the people who were raised like this. And if you speak with young black girls or even older black women who grew up in a single parent home with brothers, you will hear this story 9 times out of 10. So,
Yeah, it is, and what Shannon said about the black boys being almost treated like the pimp of the family is there was a clip from Paul Mooney, the comedian that just passed away. Actually,
mm-hmm.
he said a lot of the stuff that the women go through is from slavery, and they don't even know it. When they were forced to sleep with the slave masters, he said the slave masters, you become very vulnerable when you sleep with somebody, and you got a chance to hear how much he hated the black man.
Mm-hmm.
So and the only way they know how to love is to hold on to have them cleave to them and say, listen, I'm scared to put you out there because at a certain age,
It's a form of protection.
it's a form of protection. You're either going to be thrown in jail or killed. So it's like you push the girls out, and I've seen this in so many cases where if the girl shows any bit of laziness, the mom is on her ass hard. But that's not the same treatment
Oh
that the
yeah,
boys get, right?
I know.
And so she's looking at saying, okay, well, hold on, wait a minute. Why can't I just be? And the mom is like, no, you can't be because of this, and that, right?
Yep.
And so, but you got to understand, like, where does that come from? Does that come from, okay, if I am out here doing this by myself as a single woman, then I'm trying to prepare you to be single.
And or I'm trying to prepare you to survive because there could be a strong possibility that you also could be a single mother, and being a single mother is not a easy walk in the park. Being a single black mother is even harder. I was raised by a single black mother, so I saw the sacrifices that my mother made to make sure that we were okay, we were productive citizens of the society, right? But I will say this. Um, when I used to tell my mother all the time because I was a vocal child, shocker. I used to tell her, you treat Vincent and James differently, or those are your favorite kids or whatever, and she would say, I don't treat them differently. You have a different path than them. Well, what was the path? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like I wholeheartedly was expected to go to school and good grades, whatever. And I remember, I think I skipped school one time or skipped class, and my mama found out, and of course I got in trouble. But she told me at the end of my fuss, and she said, you starting to act just like them boys. So you knew
Yeah.
that there was a very different way, that you were treating us a very different way, and you kind of use that as a what's the chastisement?
Hmm.
Is that a word, chastisement?
Chastising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but I feel like that black mothers do that. It's not that they do it on purpose. It's just that since they are black women, like you said, they're black women and they know what they had to go through, they're having to go through. They want to make sure that their daughters are so prepared for that particular life. They forget to give us everything else.
Well,
They forget to coddle us like coddle these boys.
I think what happened is, I don't know if it's a forgetting mechanism. I think it's just like we talk about black parents in general and coming from our lineage of oppression. When you come from a place of lack, what happens is you can only teach from that place, right? And so if you never, I often say that a lot of our parents' age, they come from a place of lack, so it's hard for them to understand our abundance. So they look at us like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you throwing this away? Because I can buy a new one.
Right.
You couldn't do that.
Right.
So they don't always understand. So when you come from a place where you are always doing something on your own and you don't have the help of the actual traditional family structure. And so what's happening is, I'm going to teach you from how I survived. And we all know teaching somebody how to survive versus live is two totally different things. And so what's happening is you're implementing, this survival tactic, and survival really comes into your very, very basic animalistic instinct, which means that now I have to attack you before you attack me, which you start to see how that permeates through the life of the young girls as they go up. And it's like, hey, I'm gonna get more vicious, I'm gonna get more hardened, I'm gonna get more attack first, I'm gonna actually get more masculine in my masculine energy, because I never got a chance to get that other side, that softer side, because really the woman in my life really beat that out of me.
When we transition from this topic, go to the third slide. And so the third slide should be our second, because it transitions right into how what we're talking about.
Okay.
So we can do that now.
Yeah. All right.
So that transitions into the burden of femininity, and you explained it pretty well.
So there is we're gonna say, for the sake of this conversation, there's a stereotypical belief that black women are hard. A lot of the feminine qualities that you start to look for, it's not there in a lot of women. And you start to say, you start to question, especially when you get to a level of maturity as a man where you're looking for that wife, and you're like, yo, y'all are too hard. I often say this even now when I watch things on social media. I said, man, we was growing up, there used to be an R&B chick and there used to be a hip hop chick. Now they all hip hop chicks.
They're all hard.
They're all hard. These are, and then even I watch girls that I think are physically attractive on social media, and like they'll be singing songs and they always frowning and doing, and I'm like, why are you pushing this I'm tough, I'm hard, you can't test me image, versus saying, okay, I'm gonna play up my softness?
Because once again, that femininity aspect wasn't cultivated to the point to where it was able to grow and flourish, because there was, the gist of it was, and for me growing up, you wear a slip under your dress, under your skirt, you cross your legs, you carry your purse, you always make sure you're indecent, and you're decent and in order when you walk out.
Shout out to the Buddy crew.
and that was it. That was
the extent of the
femininity. Yeah.
Right.
Everything else was the independence part. So, and I shared this with you before the show. When I was in college and I would date or talk to these guys, whatever, and they would always say, man, you have to be so hard. I'm like, what do you mean hard? Because to me, I was considered the girly one in my whole little group, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was the way that I reacted to things, or the way that I would respond to situations, and I'm like, well, that's all I know. That's how I was taught, you know. And we are taught to, black women are taught to survive. We are taught basic survival instincts as a double minority in a country where we are seen as whores and promiscuous and angry.
You don't mean that. You don't mean that in population wise, right? When you say double minority.
Here we go. Don't start.
I'm just asking. What does that mean?
It means that there's a superiority complex when it comes to males, and there's a superiority complex when it comes to um, your skin color, your race. So since there's superiority complex in males versus females, the males think that they're superior, and they think that women are inferior. So that makes them in the minority. When it comes to black and white, whites think that they are superior than black. So as a black female, that makes us a double minority.
That don't add up, but okay, because minority is really based on numbers and not superiority complex. But okay, keep going, because technically black man is the double minority because there's more black females than there's black men. But we don't get into the numbers of this whole thing.
Y'all keep your asses out of jail, so you don't have to worry about that. So anyway,
she goes, shit on all black men like that. Keep us out of jail. If y'all stop calling the police on us, then we would. Keep going.
I just realized what you said. So you interrupted my thoughts, and I eat a lot of edibles, so I really can't remember what I was saying.
Anyway, so let's get back to the actual feminine aspect. So you were saying that, okay, this is all that you're giving, right? So you're only giving that. All right. So now what's happening is when the guys that by the time you got to the college age, whatever, because as you said, in your crew, you were known as more the feminine one out of the group, right?
The girly one, yeah.
Okay, so the girly one. So what happens is then as you grow up and come out of the confines of our high school and our little group and go to places where people have had different experiences, then people start saying, okay, well, why are you so hard? And it's like, oh, wait a minute. I don't know.
I'm not the hard, right?
I'm not the hard one.
Well, yeah. and I also want to touch on something that we spoke about when it comes to femininity, and how we are projected or seen as hard or difficult or angry.
Mm-hmm.
And I have said this plenty of times, and I will always say it, and I know because I have witnessed it with my eyes. Almost every race of women have a space to be emotional. They can be vulnerable. They can be upset. They can be angry. If you take a Latino woman, an Irish woman, an Italian woman, and a black woman, and they are upset at the exact same thing, and they respond with their emotions the exact same way. The Latino woman, oh, she got that fiery Latino blood. The Irish woman, that red hot Irish blood. The Italian woman, that's that fiery Italian woman. You get to the black woman, she's an angry black bitch.
But who is saying this?
The fact that you keep saying that, listen, like you have never heard
black
this.
Men can't even distinguish an Irish from listen.
But we're not just talking about from a black man's standpoint.
That's what I'm asking. Who is saying this?
I've told you this 1,000 times.
Well, you ain't told them.
Society.
Okay, so
is
that us though? Is that a black man telling you, oh, that's a fiery Italian?
But black men and don't come for me for this.
We think Irish is St. Patrick's Day. That's all. No different.
Black men sometimes, not all black men, some black men sometimes seem to give provisions for other women of race, whereas for black women, it's a hard and fast rule that we just angry, we bitter, we this, when all we are doing is responding out of emotion. So if we respond out of emotion the way that these other women of races do, just like them, why is it that you provide an outlet for them and it's okay, but for us it's not? And it's disheartening because I'm like, we go through the same shit that other people go through. We are taught from an early age, you have to be independent, you have to be strong, you have to be this, you have to be that. When do we get to just be women without ridicule, without being called bitter, without being called angry? We have emotions just like everybody else does. We're women, and we are in a unique position because we on this fine line, this balance where we have to be feminine, but you can't be too feminine. We have to be independent, but you can't be too independent. We got to show a little vulnerability, if not we too independent. We strong like women. We don't want no man. We don't need no man. But if we too, oh, that's what's wrong with you. You don't never listen. You look with your emotional eyes or hear with your emotional ears.
People do hear with their emotional ears. Take that shit. Take your emotional earmuffs off.
So sometimes I wish when the criticism is disseminated amongst the masses about black women, especially from black men, that you guys would step back and say, you know what, I got a black mama, I got a black grandmother, I have black daughters, I have black girlfriends, wives, whoever. What I'm saying and what I'm putting out there in the universe, how would that affect them? That's profound, actually. You about to cry. You need a hug. You'll cry when you get in the car.
You just gave that when, and I know every black woman is going to disown him right now, so nobody was his fan. But Mr. Derrick Jackson made his goddamn social media fame off of bashing black men who had a whole black audience. When does that ever go on the other side, though?
Let me do moment of honesty. And this came from a lot of black women. Now, I do understand Derrick Jackson was this guy. I know he was a guy like on Facebook who would talk or whatever. I didn't know who the hell Derrick Jackson really was until the helmet of salvation and
the breastplate
of whatever, until that whole little thing came out.
Listen,
but I'm gonna venture to say this.
Okay.
He does have a following.
A large following.
He does have a large following. But he doesn't have a following to the point to where all black women are like, oh, Derrick Jackson.
No. Not all, but what I'm saying is...
I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
You said, when do you guys get that?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you get that way more than it is given to us. And here's the reason why.
You think we're held... you think you guys are held more accountable than men are? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Shit.
As far as black women and black men,
you think that black women are held more accountable than black men?
I'm speaking as a black woman. Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna make sure I'm saying so. No, okay. So you're saying that black women are held more accountable than black men? That's what you're saying?
I think.
Okay.
I think here's the thing. Did you have to keep saying?
No, I just wanted to make sure that I'm saying it right and I got it right.
Well, because I will, and I can only speak as a black woman, okay, a strong, powerful black woman with melanated skin. A black woman will call another black woman out on her shit. We will. What?
Oh wow. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of now what happened. Here's what happens. I'm gonna give you a good example. Here's what happens. A black woman will do something in public, wear a bonnet, and another black woman will be like, "Come on now, y'all know this ain't blah blah blah," or when we talked about Cardi B, what did Cardi B do? Or one of them, whatever. So black women had a lot to say about that, and the black men be like, "Oh no, don't say that now, y'all da 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 da." Well, wait a minute. This is not even y'all's conversation. This is between us. But what we're trying to do is hold ourselves accountable to each other, right?
Okay.
I never hear black men hold their this is a whole different show. But I never really hear black men hold each other accountable. And I have asked different black men, why don't y'all hold each other accountable?
As far as what?
It's just the bullshit that
like. Let's get specific.
Okay. So if you have a friend who has if I have a friend who has a child, right? And my friend is a really bad mother, or I see her doing some really fucked up shit, I'm gonna be like, girl, I'm gonna pull you to the side, girl. Really, this is what you're doing? Like you got your baby, whatever. That's called accountability. If you have a friend who really just ain't in their child's life or do whatever, blah blah blah, are you gonna put them to the side, say, man, you need to step up and be a better father to your kid?
So to answer that question,
but wait.
Oh, okay.
Because you keep cutting me off.
Oh, you asked me a question.
No, I'm answering your question. So I've asked different men, well, why don't y'all hold being accountable for like some of the demeaning things that they say to black women, or some of the stuff that they say or ways that they move, and I always get that's that man's business.
Okay. It has become over the last, I would say, let's say 10 to
Thank you,
15
Kelly.
years. And I'm just saying that just in our age range group. At 40 years old, 15 years ago was 25, right? So it has become, one, cool to be a dad, number one. Two, I know so many dudes that say, yo, if a dude ain't taking care of his kids, you can't kick it with me, right? So those pockets of people are saying, yo, I can't be with you, kicking
Pockets
it
of
with
people.
you. But here's the thing though. It's not a, if it's not a pocket, that means somebody is standing on a platform talking to the masses. So when I mean by pockets, what I mean is there are people saying, yo, you can't kick it with me if I know you ain't taking care of your kids. If I'm an upward mobility type dude, you can't kick it with me.
I feel like we need to. I'm gonna write this down. We need to make this into a show
Okay. And so
because we're on femininity.
we
right
on
now.
femininity. So and I'll finish the statement off with saying we usually, for the guys who are fathers who know what this whole thing is within fatherhood, you can't kick it around a real true father and that be your homeboy and you know he ain't. That's almost to the point where we look at you like, yo, bro, so you ain't with your kids? You ain't? Because there's a whole black dads married group that I'm a part of where it's like, guys are saying, hey, I want to be a part of my kids, and men on there is like, hey, go out there and go keep fighting. So we're pushing more men to get involved in their kids' life, and I just don't know a lot of dudes that's around me that would allow somebody that ain't taking care of their kids to be able to be in their circle. So with that being said, speaking of the femininity, so you're saying when do women get a chance to be just them, and when do we say what I say maybe could affect them, right? So I think that a lot of times we do have to watch our words, but then there's also times where you say, listen, I got to tell the truth, right? And if I got to tell the truth and I got to say what it is, listen, you're going to be mad at me if I say it bluntly, or you going to be mad if Monique come out and say, sweet babies. Let me say, you're going to be mad. So don't turn around. If you're going to be mad either way, well, shit, I'm going to say it like I want to say it because you need to hear it. And obviously it's been too much calling because, people calling women out on their shit, going to all these bonnet wearing, they be in groups. And ain't nobody said, yo, pull that bonnet off.
No.
They all, hey, pull that bonnet off. There's 7 of them. Pull that bonnet off. What are we doing here?
So just like you say, you don't hang around men who don't take care of their kids. But there are women like myself who will look at her friend and say, I know good and damn well you think you finna go out with a bunny. But
we need more of that.
Huh?
We need more on both sides.
There are a lot of women black women who really care about demeanor and decorum, right? And when you have the button wearers who say, here we go, some black people somebody always got something to say about how a black woman looks. Well, in this case, a black woman is saying, and however you feel about Monique, well, Monique said, I feel like she said it out of love.
She said it 100% out of love.
And I agree. But it also goes back to the mindset, how you were raised. I was raised that you did not wear your bedclothes outside of your home. And honestly, when I was growing up, I couldn't wear my bedclothes outside of my room. I had brothers. My mom's like, no, you got to respect yourself and respect them, and vice versa. So before you come out your room, you get dressed. You don't walk around in your bedclothes. But that's old school. That I take. I mean, I ain't walking around and I will never. I present myself differently when my brother's in front of me because of how I was raised. But I'm writing these down because these are good shows we come out of.
Yeah.
So our last one.
Okay, so and as we do that, let me say this about femininity. You mentioned something about can we can't be too feminine, can't be this, can't be that. Listen, ladies, your power is in your femininity. I say this again and again and again. If you know the Bible story of Samson and Delilah, they sent armies of men after Samson. One woman used her femininity to get close enough to him to cut his hair, right? Your power is there. God created it in that manner. So nothing that's a positive can be a negative unless you don't know how to use it, right? So being feminine doesn't mean that you're soft or you're a pushover. It's just in how you sometimes respond to stuff, and it's sometimes in how you go about things. It's a whole aura, and I'm gonna tell you,
it's our unique trait that God gave us for a reason.
when a feminine woman comes into the room, the presence, whatever, you can feel it. Let me tell y'all something. Felicia Rashad, when we watched her on the Cosby Show, whatever her character was as Claire Huxtable, the most appealing thing about Felicia Rashad was her femininity. That's what really got people so attracted to her. It was the feminine presence that she put out. Yes, she was a beautiful woman, but it was like an aura that she put out that it was like, oh my God, what is that? It was almost where you couldn't even describe it. So that's where the femininity really comes in. Let me tell you something. God gave it to you for a reason. All right. So even if you have to go up against some knuckleheads who are trying to knock you off that horse, understand who you are. And once you understand who you are, you can use it better. And I always tell people, positive traits are only negative when you misuse them. People say, oh, my downfall is my compassion. No, it's not your downfall. Your downfall is being compassionate about people who are undeserving of it.
Right.
So it's not a negative. So that's what I want to say about the femininity as we move on to the next one.
Okay. Body maturity.
Wow.
Now this is what I hate. And so you see you and especially I want to say with younger mothers, because I mean I had an older mother, an old school mama, so I didn't get this. Plus I didn't have no shape. So hush your mouth. So when you see the daughters growing into their prepubescent or pubescent bodies, or even when they're just 4 or 5 years old and they have their baby weight and the baby weight shifts maybe, and their shape starts to form, and the mother's, ooh, girl, look at that butt, look at that shape, ooh, look. That is the worst thing, because what you are doing now is you are planting the seed of over sexualization in your child. You're planting the seed of, my body is my best asset. Yeah. And look at that butt. She's gonna be fine. She gonna,
And we wonder why in 20 years.
And we wonder why
all her pictures got her ass instead of her face.
Well,
keep going.
but then you start to shape in their heads what body image is, and the way that they start to carry themselves. And have you ever seen like a little girl? I'm gonna call them those little grown girls, 4 or 5 years old, and they almost walk identical to their grown ass adult mother. The way that they have an arch in their back, the way that they, it's almost like they mimic, because when you little, and you got an old school mama, your mama tell you stop switching.
I ain't heard that all the time.
Look, yeah, stop switching.
Yeah, yeah.
And because I used to try to switch, honey. Stop twisting, stop switching. Yeah. Instead of, but now it's, oh, child, she gonna be fine. She gonna, and it's almost like, what are we really saying to our daughters? What is the message that we are projecting to them about their bodies? And why are we so okay with objectifying them based on what we think is beautiful or what we think is acceptable? Because I don't want to hear you talk about your daughter who's 4 years old with a butt. That's something very disturbing about that.
It's something that bothers me to no end when I hear women sexualize these little girls and say, I had to stop that in my own house. And women do it unconsciously, when they say, oh yeah, it's a little butt on a little this. And I'm like, wait. If you say that while she's walking out here right now, she eventually goes to the back and look in the mirror and say, well, what is this?
Yep.
So this is something to be observed, talked about, and ultimately used.
Mm-hmm. because
but I don't know how to use it now.
if I hear my mama talk about how big my butt is, and it's my mama, she loved me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go out and I hear a stranger talk about how big my butt
Mm-hmm.
is. Well, mama said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there can't be nothing wrong with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to be very careful about
Yeah.
the seeds that we plant in our daughters,
Yeah.
especially regarding their body and the over sexualization that we do. And sometimes we do it subconsciously. We don't understand, you know. And sometimes we have these mamas who've been built bad all their life, and their daddy take the shape from their baby take the shape from the daddy side, and now you're like, well, my daughter fine. I ain't never been this fine, so I'm gonna live vicariously through her.
So, and I'm glad you said that because I was going to bring up this point. A lot of times, there's a level of jealousy in it, right? To the point of you more than
I've been bad all my life, so I never had that.
I, let me say this: women more than men want to because again, and if we break this down to how the dating world works, where men are visual and we place the value in aesthetics, women more than men want to be graded downward, and men usually don't be like. I don't hear a lot of dudes like, oh yeah, man, they thought me and my boy was twins. We like, nah, we ain't twins. And if you ever try to test me like a twin, it's that line.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
We gonna keep that. Whereas, girl, they said we were twins.
They said we was they thought we were sisters.
So what I'm saying is that it's the jealousy of especially, and we said 4 or 5, but let's get up to 15, 16, 17. I have spoken to women that said there's a lot of jealousy between mother and daughter, especially when they start to hit that age and mother has kind of passed on with her best life as far as the body goes.
Mm-hmm.
And they live vicariously through that, which means they start buying clothes that they wish they can wear to their daughter. And girl, you look cute and you look this, you look that. And then all of a sudden, especially if there's no guy to check it,
yeah,
that becomes a big issue. And so guys are always trying to, from my knowledge, we're always trying to slow down this process.
Yes.
Like, oh, why does she have to?
Yeah.
Listen, my 11-year-old put hoops on the other day. I'm like, oh, hoops? You wearing these hoops? And my wife was like, ain't nothing wrong with that, me either. Now, listen, and my wife is a very conservative woman, so I'm not saying, and so I have to trust my wife on this because I know her conservative nature, and my wife doesn't have that jealousy of our daughter, so I had to trust it. But there's still something in me that we have
as
conversations
a father, you just
where I'm like, hey,
what you need hoops
what
for?
you need the hoop
Yeah.
for? Put the little studs in and keep it moving, right?
Yeah.
Because we always want to slow this process down, which is really how boys really live. We go through 11, we 12,
Girls
I don't remember trying to put on my daddy's work uniform and say, yeah, I'm my daddy. But my daughter lives in my wife's closet.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife is like, where'd you get that from? Out your closet. I was wearing.
I used to lock myself in my mama's bathroom and play in her makeup and wear her shoes and just. But I think that's a girl thing or whatever. But you're right. Boys get a chance to, unless something traumatic happens in their lives, boys get a chance to live out every stage. 12, 13, 14. Girls go from 6 to 16. Boom. And the daddies be like, man, what in the hell is going on?
Yeah. Slow this down.
Yeah.
And because you got to understand, men and women see stuff differently. We see the other side of what this can lead to become. And we're talking about body maturity, right? So we're talking about that girl who is 14 who at a glance looks 22.
Yeah.
Right? She has the youth mentality, but she has the grown woman's body.
Mm-hmm.
That's a burden for a young girl to start like, yo, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, if she does, we're not saying everybody does, but if she does have that in her ear from her mom, aunts, cousins, great aunts, grandma, where they talking about, girl, look at them legs, look at that, you know what I'm saying? And because also, I don't like when women do it to little boys.
He gonna be a
heartbreaker.
Yeah.
He gonna, whoa, wait a minute. Because now he's like, okay, well, what is that? Let me figure that out. And I'm like, you got to understand, that would be totally unacceptable If I would have do
if
that
a
to,
grown man did it to yeah,
so it ain't cool to do
at
that.
all. And
No.
I will say this: as a girl, I'm gonna be a little moment of truth, be a little vulnerable here. Um, I blossomed very early in the rack area, the chest area, and the attention that I received from boys, from men, from women was embarrassing to say the least. And
On behalf of all the boys at TW Brown, I want to say I'm sorry.
and Kimball, nigga, don't forget Kimball. No, but by the time I got to TW Brown, child, I was no, but and I thank God that I had a mother who was able to help,
Hmm.
but it's very awkward for a to go from being able to do all these things and run and tumble all of that, and all of a sudden your body starts changing. It just changes overnight. You're like, well, where did these come from? And so I can only imagine if these things started to grow, and but I had some, oh girl, look at them, y'all see them titties, y'all, that I don't know how I don't know how I would have taken that, because you
Oh,
are
you saying you didn't have that?
no, no,
Okay.
no, hell no. You think my mom gonna
No,
listen
not
to
to
that?
your mama saying, but I'm saying other women around your family. Did anybody else?
No, 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 no. Hell no. Listen, my aunties and my mama were just alike.
Okay.
So I know she ain't watching, but I have a niece who, my youngest niece, who developed like her auntie, and she had a teacher at her school who would poke and say, "Oh, look at these big old," but
Hmm?
but so and the school was like, it's a small home school, so they all knew each other, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
still, but so I told my sister-in-law, either you talk to this heifer, or I'm gonna talk to her. Of course, they won't let me talk to her because there won't be no more school.
And we're talking.
But
You crazy.
that is, yes, that is embarrassing. It's awkward.
Yeah.
So be mindful of really what you say when their body starts to change anyway, because like I said, it was embarrassing to have at in the fifth grade, and my were bigger than some of my teachers, and they were ogle, they were, and I'm like, I'm just trying
You
to
just
get.
trying. You're just trying to be a
I'm trying
girl.
to make it through fifth grade.
You're trying to be a girl, and all of a sudden, you didn't ask for them.
No.
And so now here it is. And so when you start to see these girls that develop breasts and the hips start to spread, and then all of a sudden they develop, a butt, and then now the attention from the older
Yep.
kids come in, and then also the older men come in.
Yep.
And so you're like, okay, how do I process this? And that's why instead of saying, girl, look at that little booty, look at that, you say, listen, let me tell you about your body.
Yeah.
You have now started to develop A, B, C, D. The world is going to see you in this way, that way. What I want you to know is that there's nothing wrong with this is this. And you start to talk to them and coach them through, because that's our job as parents, to be able to coach the kids through all these difficult situations. And you got to remember, y'all, most of this stuff, if you're the same gender as your kid, you've went through.
You've gone through.
You've gone through. And remember, don't laugh at all, because so many times we haven't dealt with our own trauma that we are now just passing that same thing because it was good enough for me. Listen, let me tell you something. Now, I didn't say this to you earlier when you said, you were saying, my mom did the best job of this and that, because I know, your mom has passed and things like that. But we don't always have to give this caveat to some of the stuff our parents did, because everything they did wasn't right. And as you get older, you say, listen, this is, this right here could have been done differently. I could have been shown this could have been, because the thing is that, we place our parents on pedestal, but our parents are human.
Right.
Right. And so with that being said, understand those things that you went through and don't pass those on. Learn and deal with those things you had to go through and say, listen, I knew how that felt. So why would I, but so many just terrible, deranged people, when I've heard this in so many situations, said, well, I had to go through it.
So, right. my thing is, if I had to go through some bullshit, why do I want my kids, my offspring, to have to go through the same?
You can,
Why?
but you know what? They can quote unquote go through it in a different way. You can say, listen, let me introduce you to the world of your body. And most of the time, your kids are weirded out when you start coming to them at this. Listen, you finna have to go through this. Why?
Yeah.
Because I would rather prepare you for this than to have you out there and confused and not knowing.
And have somebody else give you a whole nother narrative, and that's not even the play.
And I love how you said that. What if my mama said it was okay and she loves me? Soon as he said, it got to be true.
Imagine how many little girls experience that, and because you know, when you turn 13, 14, and that body starts to really take form and shape, these predators, that's what I call it, these predators come out of everywhere, and they tell you all types of shit. So I will say this, I thank God I had a mother, uncles, aunts, cousins who like sheltered me to the point where whatever was said to me, I knew, okay, this is some, and I had a safe space with my cousins where I could go and say, okay, this is what, blah, blah, blah. When that new body starts to form, I mean, and I say this all the time, I've been getting male attention since I was 11 years old. 11 years old. And that's the world we live in. And shit, probably younger than that. I just didn't realize. But I remember being like in 5th and 6th grade and having, teenage boys and even grown ass men make comments. So be mindful of the seeds that you put into especially as a woman, the seeds that you put into your daughters about their bodies, because they're going to get so many people who are going to have a conversation about their bodies to them. So
yeah.
Before we get out of here, you got anything else to say? Because I got one more thing.
I had something, but I forgot it.
Okay, I want to say Happy Father's Day to all of our great fathers. Happy Father's Day to our beautiful, strong Black fathers who, Black dads don't get enough credit. And there was a statistic, because I love statistics, that showed the majority, in the majority of dads who were present dads, meaning in the home and just in showed up every day in their lives, Black dads were the top. Now, I know society want to tell y'all that we don't have no daddies. I didn't have a daddy, but I'm a statistic.
But you made it out.
But I made it. But I got a zaddy. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, so happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the wonderful dads. Shout out to my brother and my uncles and Terrence. I mean, he's a mom. He's built like a mom, but he's really a dad.
I knew that was coming.
So
you just can't let a mother go, okay?
Shout out to all the uncles who stepped up to be dads, to their nieces and nephews. My Uncle Earl, my Uncle Howard, Uncle Ben. No, I'm kidding. Uncle Sam, you ain't did shit for me, okay? This is going to rock.
It went right off the tracks, okay?
Anyway, yeah. Happy Father's Day from the last podcast.
Yes.
Black dads, you are killing it. Don't let nobody tell you differently. Yeah.
And because I have a platform here, I'm going to say this.
Randy
Fellas,
Mitchell.
If you got some dudes that is around you, they ain't taking care of your kids, go on and distract them right out your group. Listen, now if they want to group up and be the we ain't taking care of our kids group,
Chris.
Let them have that, okay? But the more that we continue to make it cool to be in your kid's life, and we do understand those circumstances where you were trying and it just ain't working. But keep up that effort. Understand this, for the dads who are out there struggling, trying to get in their kids' life and they are being held out, keep pushing, because I'm going to tell you this. If you live long enough, your kids will realize what you were trying to do and what wasn't allowed to happen, okay? So you keep doing it and you keep pushing. And for the dads there, man, shout out to you guys. Shout out to all the dads who played a role and a part, of my life, the dads that I hung out, at their house, and I felt like I was one of their sons, and so it was always a level of maleness around me to be able to say, hey, listen, this is how we handle business.
And shout out to your dad.
To my dad, my grandfather, all my uncles, man. I have a long. Listen, we almost do it in our family. Like I can't name a guy in our family that don't take care of their kids, because like you would be not a Jackson. And I'm pretty sure there's some stragglers out there for the most part that I know of.
Right.
We all do that, man. So shout out to the dads out there.
Yeah.
So also shout out to Deep Ellum Distillery. Shout out to Jared and Shay for winning their bottles of Deep Ellum vodka. We'll be getting those to you soon. Make sure to follow us on Facebook. That is what's Facebook?
The Last Podcast.
The Last Podcast 1. And on Instagram it's _ the Last Podcast. I was getting confused. So
Clearly.
With that,
honestly.
Man, shout out to you guys. We will see you next week. Make sure to continue to come in this section. Make sure to share this. And also send us in some of your show topics if you got some.
Yeah, if you guys want to hear us discuss something, talk about something, send it to us.
Yeah.
We have an opinion just about everything.
Just about everything.
Shout out to Joe Biden out there in Geneva, killing it on the stage with Putin.
You look so dejected. Like,
look,
where's my buddy Trump?
Where's my buddy Trump?
Yeah. So, hey, with that, man, we'll see you guys next week right here on
The Last Podcast.